What is going on, everyone? Roughneck2 Charlie here, and I am back here to do another Battlefield 1 speculation video. Now it has felt like forever since I've done one of these, so I decided I'm going to get back to digging through all kinds of information, website after website, hour after hour, pulling together what I could find. That way I could put together what I believe is going to be one of the new maps in the upcoming DLC Turning Tides. Now, Turning Tides is set to release this December. That's only 2 months away. It's basically a naval-based DLC that will have its main focus be on the sea battles of World War I with a mix of land-based infantry warfare, much like the Naval Strike DLC from Battlefield 4. Now, basically, after compiling all the information that I found, what I'm going to present to you today is a map that I think is going to be called either the Mole, just simply the Mole, or the Zeebrugge Mole. First off, the Mole. No, not that kind of mole. I'm talking about a large landmass. Sometimes it's man-made, but it acts as like a pier or a water break. Now you can clearly see in the picture that's being shown that there is a large mole. And now compare this to the actual photo that I'm putting up of the Zeebrugge Mole, and you can definitely see that this is two of the same. You can even see the lighthouse in the background. Now, if you take a look at a complete overview of where the Zeebrugge raid took place, you can see in the area that it's perfect for this Turning Tides DLC. You have a large open area here to the right with plenty of room to fit sea-based vehicles, and the mole itself has plenty of room for infantry-based fighting amongst a handful of warehouses, fortifications, and there's even a seaplane base. Now, there can also be ships attached to the mole, the ships that were used by the British to storm it as part of the infantry portion of the map. Basically, what the British did is they pulled these ships right up beside the mole, and ramps were laid out for the soldiers to use. This widens the infantry area even more and could even give us a chance of possibly fighting inside some of these ships as a close quarters option, which I think would be really cool to see the inside. Most likely, though, I think it's going to be more of a deck-based battle with no access into it. Probably everything's just all locked up. But in overall, this map is going to provide more than enough area to incorporate the main focus of this naval warfare, but it's also still going to cater to the players that prefer to stick to infantry fighting. Now, one crazy idea that I had is that I think that we could actually take this map and it could give you an actual option on which behemoth you want to have. So we have the choice of the armored train or the battleship that we could actually use in this map. And the reason I say that is because during the Zeebrugge raid, one of the main objectives of the British attack was to ram the mole with a submarine C5 filled with explosives to blow up the bottom end of it to cut off all the German supplies coming from the mainland. And that portion of the mole that was blown up, as you can see here in the picture, actually had a railroad track on it, and that railroad track ran up the mole for moving supplies. So possibly we could do a small area there where the railroad tracks could be used by the armored train, but we'll have to see. But here's my big thing, is what if we brought back the Battlefield 4 Levolution as a way to determine what behemoth we use? Now, with this British submarine that hit the mole, perhaps this could be something that could be player driven. And if you succeed and you blow up a designated portion of that mole, then perhaps it will render the armored train useless, and it won't be an option for the losing team to use. This will obviously prompt the battleship to be used as the behemoth on the map. However, the Zeebrugge raid had 3 British cruisers, the HMS Thetis, Intrepid, and I'm going to try my best on this, Iphigenia, as part of the battle. Now, the plan of the British was to use these 3 large cruisers, which were actually filled with concrete, to block off the port to keep the German U-boats from getting out. Now, unfortunately for the British, this didn't work, and the Thetis actually didn't even make it to the canal entrance. It hit an obstruction and was scuttled permanently. 2 other ships were sunk at the narrowest point of the canal, as you can see here in this picture I'm showing now, but unfortunately, during the high tide, the U-boats were still able to leave the port. Now, I will say this, I don't like the thought of the battleship actually being the behemoth. First of all, it's just kind of too obvious because it's naval-based warfare, you know, that's the main focus, and it's just kind of, it would almost be too easy to make the battleship the behemoth in a lot of these maps. And also, with the presence of all these other large ships, it just makes it really hard to kind of wrap my head around that. I do feel, however, that these sunken cruisers could actually be used as capture points on a game like Conquest. Or even Rush, if you could put MCOMs inside of them, perhaps. But we'll have to wait and see on that. Now, going into the little things on the map, like the time of day, this will mainly be a daytime map as far as I'm concerned. The actual battle did kick off around 5 a.m., so maybe we could look at maybe a dusky, kind of foggy start to each round, with the sun coming up, fog clearing, stuff like that, and then fight throughout the day. Now, as far as the effects go, you know, like the fog or rain or anything like that, I think that DICE is going to get away from that because I honestly feel as though it's been overused. And the reason I also think that they're going to get away with that is because one of the things that the British used was smokescreen. Now, unfortunately, the wind did shift and the smokescreen didn't work for them. But perhaps, you know, this is something that DICE could build upon and use this blowing smoke almost like a moving fog. And then it'll basically, as the wind shifts, different areas of the map will be affected at different times. And it can really kind of move the gameplay around. That way you're not just the entire map is foggy or rainy and it's hard to see. It's just sections at a time. And it really will kind of open up the gameplay in different sections of the map as well. So as far as possible vehicles or gadgets that we may be using on this type of map, you know, I'm really going to try to address that in a later video, to be honest. But overall, in conclusion, this is what I see us having. We have a large open area of water to utilize, a nice linear portion of land for infantry fighting, the possibility of 2 different behemoths being able to be used in this map, not necessarily simultaneously, but just being able to have the option for it, it still shows that there is the possibility of one or the other. And now with what I said earlier, the possibility of Levolution, now that's what I think would be really cool. Determining which behemoth you have based on the Levolution. You know, because with Battlefield 4, the Levolution was supposed to change the entire map. How else better to change the entire map than determine which behemoth the losing team would have? That would be a huge gameplay change, and I think a great job by DICE if they implemented something like that. So basically you put together all of these things that I just mentioned, and it just really gives me a very good feeling that we may as well be seeing this as one of the possible maps that we'll be fighting on in just a couple of months. So that's all I really have for today. I just wanted to get it out there nice and quick, run it by all of you, and I want to know what your thoughts are. Do you see this becoming an actual map? Or do you think that they should probably like broaden the horizon of this map, make it more than the mole and that basically that little bay? Because there is actual cities down below, but I think those would be other maps. And this would make great for the operations that have to start on the outside, just like the actual assault, and work your way into those cities. And that's why I think that it will be a lot of separate maps for that area. And also, what do you think about the fact of the possibility of there being more Levolution? I think it's great. I think it will switch up the gameplay a lot. But please, let me know down in the comments below what you think about all of this stuff that I've presented to you today. And do you think that it's something that could come together with the ingenuity of DICE and the historical accuracy that we have here? But that is all that I really do have for today. So if you like this video, please show your support and smash that thumbs up button down below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Until the next one, I'm Roughneck2Charlie, and I will see you very soon.